Yes, people. What's going on? Welcome to United View. Welcome to another transfer view. And to be honest, I feel like it's going to start hotting up now. Things are going to start to happen. Dominoes are going to start
to bubbling.
To fall. Yeah, things are bubbling. Not just at Man United, but in and around the Premier League and obviously other clubs. But it's got that feeling of teams going, right, okay, we've got to this stage. Let's start looking at some names we maybe didn't think, or players start going, I thought I would have played a bit more during this month. I'm really not fancied here. Agent, right? Do you know what I mean? It starts. This is what happens. This is what happens. Smash a like on the video, peeps. Subscribe to United View if you guys haven't done so already. All Elite says, morning UV family. In fact, let's do a little bit of a roll call. Morning UV family. Shout out to you from All Elite. Abdul says, good morning. Joe Blackman says, glad to hear it, Dave. So that must be something positive for Dave. So big up. Big up Joe Blackman as always. So let's summon the UV gods. With the likes, 100%, get the likes in nice and quick. Nessie says, good morning, Fleck, Owen and UV fam. Javid says, morning, UV. Morning, Flex, and morning, Owen says, Avik. And morning, guys, from Mandem AM as well. And Spy Monster says, good morning as well. So the roll calling. Get yourself your tea, your coffee, your hot chocolate, whatever it is you have, your smoothie, you know what I mean? Your juicing, you might be doing that. Whatever you got in the morning, your breakfast, etc., get comfy.
Yeah.
If you're on your way to work, if you're on the train, lock in, etc. But please smash a like. We're going to be talking about Patrick Dorgu. Final offer, third and final offer. Take it or leave it, Lecce.
It's always the way of United. It's always in groups of three, isn't it? There's this sort of weird sort of OCD. It's got to be a 3. You know what I mean? It's first offer, low. Gets a little bit higher. We know we're going to reject the first 2. We're always going to end up at 3, but we do this. We've got to get there.
Listen,
there first.
When you got to protect as much pounds as we got to protect, every penny matters of saving. So it is what it is. A lot of people have been saying, don't pay it as well. Nope, that 5 million is too much for this guy who we don't even know. Some people are like, listen, Amorim wants him. Shut up. Like, it's all about back the manager, get him his players. He clearly wants this guy for an extra 5 million to not get your actual target at 30 million. It's not a huge, we're acting like 30 million is like some big 60, 70, 80, 90. It's not. 30 million is about, it's what it is, isn't it, these days?
Yeah, well, and also there's something quite interesting when it comes to Alvaro Fernandez that we've got to talk about this morning as well, when it comes to all of this, because, like maybe that Alvaro Fernandez thing, like was speculated, really that real, and can't force a player to return.
Yeah, he's probably going, you know what, I'm really happy at Benfica. I'm doing well. I'm playing in the Champions League. I'm doing this, that, and the other. I'm going to stay here for the next couple of years. You know what I mean? So who knows? So we've got to talk about that. Like someone just said there, like Max said, Mark Ogden's story talking about, there is a price for Rasmus. There is a price for Rasmus. So we'll talk about that too. And basically, just late deals. Do you know what I'm saying? Late deals in general. So let's get into it. Patrick Dorgu. The reports are saying Fabrizio et al. Third and final offer.
Yes, third and final offer could be going in. And again, this is an interesting one because they have been kind of reporting this for the last sort of week or so, that there is this sort of general confidence that this is going to get done. And this is what Romano's basically saying, is that Manchester United feel they can get this Patrick Dorgu deal agreed in the next day, 2 days, 24, 48 hours. They're confident, they're optimistic. Further talks with a new official bid is going to be going in soon. Ben Jacobs kind of saying the same thing, that Manchester United are optimistic that an agreement can be reached for Dorgu. A third and likely final offer north of 35 million euro is expected to be made this week. Of course, we know that Lecce's asking price is 40 million euro. My prediction for the last week or so, Flex, has been that it's probably going to be 35 plus 5. And it's going to be a case of Lecce going, see, we did get 40, and Manchester United going, see, we didn't pay 40, and everyone kind of wins. Now, you might say, well, we've got another option. Like you said, Flex, this is too expensive. Why are we going for Dorgu? Go and get Alvaro Fernandez. Go get here. We've got a buyback clause. We can go do that. There were reports last week saying that, United were interested in doing that and looking at that. Well, it's quite interesting, an update coming from Laurie Whitwell this morning from The Athletic. Yes. He is saying that Manchester United are weighing up whether to trigger their buyback clause for Alvaro Fernandez. He's obviously having a great campaign at Benfica, but they are prioritising this move of Patrick Dorgu from Lecce in the left-back hunt. United are considering whether they could bring the 21-year-old back to Old Trafford if negotiations stall, because the required figure is believed to stand around 80 million euro with some small add-ons, but it's a quicker deal to do. It's an easy deal to do. do. But he might not want to come back because close to Alvaro Fernandez currently say they're not considering a move in this market. He spent 4 seasons at United before being allowed to leave permanently last summer for €6 million in a deal struck in the previous winter window. So, as many people kind of speculated with the Alvaro Fernandez element to this story, it may have just been leveraging from Manchester United to basically say to Lecce, look, we've got other options. We've got other alternatives. So you're going to have to come down with your price. Otherwise, you're going to get nothing. And Lecce saying, well, we've also got Napoli that are interested in Patrick Dorgu. So because of that, you're going to have to give us what we want, essentially. But it's sort of a bargaining tool. And it's not to say Alvaro Fernandez couldn't come back later on, but maybe not in this window. Now, Matteo Moretto, of course, an Italian-based journalist, has also said that Manchester
He's been all over this, hasn't he?
Offer for Patrick Dorgu will be around 30 to 31 million, including bonuses. Lecce are ready to say yes, but today will be important. So it does feel like, when all of the journalist flex start sort of gathering around and they start going, the third offer is going to come in and this is going to be maybe sort of the final one, and they're getting closer. United's going to go a bit higher. Lecce's maybe going to come a little bit down. The player one, etc. So we're getting towards finality on this one.
Yeah, we're getting to, and with the Alvaro situation, like you said, you can't force a player to just come back if he doesn't want to. And also, with him being here for 4 years and couldn't break through, and he's got that consistency now since he's been there. He's played 31 times this season already. 7 in the Champions League, 18 in the league. And then in 6 and 3 and 3 respectively in the Portuguese Cups. Like, he's a full first teamer. It's guaranteed starter on a good trajectory. Your agent's probably saying, listen, Man United, they still hold the buyback. But when does that? I don't even know when that runs out. But
January 2026.
Right. So you've got another year of this. Maybe in the summer they might come after you've had a whole full. Yeah, just chill, just relax. You've got no reason to move now. Everything's fine. Everyone's talking about you. You've got all the plaudits. Everyone's realizing how good you are. Stay here, kid, and just keep working. I'd probably advise him that as well. Then, go back to the chaos. But obviously, then if it was his dream and he's like, oh, but I really did want to do that. Like, now I can actually do it. Now it changes. But like I say, back to Patrick Dorgu, clearly that's the preferred option. And yeah, I know we can talk about the increments of the like, oh, you offered this, and then 4 million more, then 4 million. Why don't you just give it to them the first time? I'm not. For transfers like this, I'm not really that bothered, because at the end of the day, like, we have no money. Like, if we can save on even these types of deals, 2 million here, 3 million there, that's what it's got to. I mean, our prices have gone up. The fans are confronting Sir Jim. There's financial ruins at the club. We've got Sell gone at, like, we're messed up. So we can't ask for the people to come in and be good negotiators and then just want them to just pay whatever it is all the time. Like, it'd be different if we missed out on him. If we missed out on him, then I'd say, yeah. But I know there's two sides of, like, that they're going to accept the thing. So why didn't you just save us 2 weeks and just pay the 8 million difference or whatever it is? But I don't know. We got no money. So I'm just like, just try. Just fucking try, man.
Well, it's an interesting one. I spoke about this yesterday, and I think, the wall, I don't think, is now being pulled over the United fans, even eyes more so than ever when it comes to transfers. A lot of the times, because we more often than not don't operate in the winter windows and we just sort of go from summer to summer. There is sometimes optimism that surrounds when we're spending £200 million each summer and we're bringing these players in and we get excited and we kind of overlook the bigger picture of it all. And we just sort of go, oh, it's great. We've signed De Ligt, we've signed Mazraoui, we've signed Xerxes, we've signed Ugarte. Look at this. And even the summer prior, we got, Andre Onana's in. Wow, he was just in the Champions League final. And we got this striker in the end, Rasmus Hojlund. We don't know much about him, but he's a young player. Like, we do, that's what we do. But now, this is one of the first times that I can recall, actually, that, and I feel quite bad, actually, for Patrick Dorgu in this scenario, is that there is this sort of general, not towards him, but there is this general sort of sentiment of, I just don't give a shit, or like it's a drop in the ocean for us in terms of
doesn't feel like a big signing. Doesn't feel like
and not even necessarily like it doesn't feel like a big sign. It just feels like this sort of repetitive. Oh man, like, and it's not his fault. And to I suppose give the people who are working on this deal credit in the sense of, like we've said, you've got to start somewhere. You know,
You have to.
where
Start,
if you're a complete mess, where do you start? And it's a difficult question with Manchester United, isn't it? Where do you start? And when it comes to this deal specifically, I think there's this feeling of, oh, we're getting overcharged. And you know, the reality of the situation is, I've brought this up many a time. There are posts from Fabrizio going back to the summer when Chelsea were interested in Dorgu, when Spurs were interested in Dorgu, and it was always 40 million euro. By all accounts, that's always been their price.
We're not getting it's not the Man United tax.
No, in this specific one, it has literally always been this price. In other cases, absolutely, we've seen it that we get ripped off and we do a madness.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Again, it's someone mentioned it the other day, and it's so true that it's if this was the summer and we said, all right, we're signing a left back for around 30 million quid, around that kind of number, we'd be like, all right, nowadays in football, 30 million is not that much money. 20 years old, we don't know that much about, and we always ask for this. Get me some player I've never heard of before from Europe and watch them develop, and we see that. But when you don't have the money, and when when your PSR is really, really bad, then you start looking and you start going, here's 20, and is this for us right now? It's a lot of money, and could that be split and spent on maybe 2 or 3 players and a loan, and this, that, and I think it's a lot about the circumstances, isn't it? Because of our circumstances right now, we are prickly about any money, about any spending,
we don't want to spend
transfer.
And we're right to feel like that because of what's going on. And the first signing of the Ruben Amorim era, you'd want it to be a sexy signing. You want to think, Gyökeres is in the bag. We went and got him. We brought him more, a Victor Osimhen. Yeah, this 50 million, but we worked out the loan he's in, or somebody, Kvaratskhelia, we got him instead of Garnacho. You want the big player, but that's not, let's get real. That might be sprinkled along the time, but we're not going to rebuild this team like that. We're not going to rebuild this team like that. There's a lot of people in the chat, of course, talking about Romano's update, and Laurie a little bit earlier, regarding Aiden Heaven as well from Arsenal's young 18-year-old centre-back. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in the show. That's feeding into what we're really trying to do behind the scenes with the youngsters is build for the future. It's another coup, isn't it? That one, but we'll get to that one and talk about that one a little bit later. We have seen it, but yeah, to this Patrick Dorgu thing, you're right. It doesn't feel like, yes, wicked Patrick Dorgu. Wait, because people don't, not many people watch Lecce, inside out, and even if you're a Serie A watcher, again, you might have seen him went into Milan, Juve, or Atalanta, one of the big Napoli or whatever. Maybe when they played Lecce, you go, that left back was all right, but you wouldn't have watched more than 1 or 2 games a season of him.
It goes back to trust, I don't talk to everyone,
doesn't it? But exactly. So now we have to go back to that
and the trust, because if it was another team that signed, almost any other team, let's face it, actually, yeah. If it was obviously the teams like Brighton, etc., if they were like, we're getting Patrick Dorgu, you'd be like, I bet he's good. Even if it was Chelsea right now, because obviously they go buy all these youngsters, we'd be like, I bet it'll turn out to be, I bet it'll be good. Or if not, they'll sell him like they're doing with Disasi now. Boom, like that kind of thing.
Exactly. And when Disasi came in, he was highly rated as well.
It's because it's United, and we just don't. Our assumption is already, because of our track record, we're overspending. He won't be good, and that's kind of it. Yeah. And to be fair, again, that perception, it's right. It's right. Yeah. It's a fair perception, because there's not a lot of evidence to show otherwise, is there? But like we always say with these transfers, like if they come in and they play well, then all of this kind of stuff at the moment will be largely forgotten about. It's just the fact that more often than not in United, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, so it's just like with Joshua Zirkzee. Joshua Zirkzee was around about this money, 30, 35 million, weren't he? And because of what's gone on early on in his career, everyone's going, a lot of people have been like, nah, mate, absolutely, what's happened here? It's happened again, actually. It's happened again. And then obviously a bit more time, people go, there's a bit of something there. In fact, everything's pivoted to Rasmus Hojlund now, which we'll get to in a short while. So yeah, I think unfortunately for us, like what Owen was saying, I agree. We are in Ineos and the Avengers assembled. They're in a position where they just have to start building up a good track record of hits It's as simple as that. They need to build a new catalogue. Their first window was obviously the last one just gone. We came out of that window before all the shit happened with Ten Hag. Let's be real. I don't think many of us, the general consumption, there's always some people, you can't speak for everyone, but the general message on the channel that I felt was everybody felt we had a decent window. You know, everyone was very complimentary of De Ligt and Mazraoui for a combined fee of what we got them for. Everyone was complimentary, or most people was complimentary of basically getting Euro away from Real Madrid when they were definitely in for him, paid a bit more, but we said no to Braithwaite, and we went and got this kid who Real Madrid wanted. You know, people said, "Tell you what, yeah, that's good."
With the Xerxes one, we praised for. In that case, we did praise for overspending because we went, if you did the release clause, you'd have to pay it all up front. We paid a little bit more, but we spread it out even longer. Good
spread
business,
it out,
mate.
and again, the 30 to 35 vibe. You go, okay, that's more where we should be. This 60, 70, this, that, and the other. Ugarte, in the end, because we held out, and I remember covering it. And actually giving Ineos props because they knocked off 8 million by taking a little longer, basically 10 million euros. I think they ended up getting it less for because PSG basically wanted it for what they bought him for, which was, I think, the 60. In the end, we got it down to the 50 or something like that. And we saved like 8
initial 42 plus add-ons or something like that.
So we saved on that. So you go, right, okay, that's pretty good. So my point is that we came out of that window going, oh, not too bad. First one in Ineos, okay, not bad. So, but then, you know, as the season's gone on, and then you go, well, that was a disaster because if Ruben Amorim was the manager, then would we have got players like De Ligt? Would we have got Mazraoui, who can't play wing back? Would we have got Joshua Xerxes, who's this type of 10/9? Would we have done it? Would we have done it? Would we? Well, probably would have got Ugarte, you could argue. But do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think we just have to build up a track record now of signings that actually work. Because if Dorgu's good, everyone's going to say 30 million is a bargain. So,
it's when it goes back into the territory of temper expectations, because Patrick Dorgu coming in is not going to mean Man United win every single game now. Like we're fixed. You know what I mean? It's like that's going to be bad. And now look, we've seen it can take players a while to adapt to. So it might be till from now to the end of the season, he might struggle. He might be in and out of the side, and then that'll get back into the territory of what have we done? Why have we done this? This player's boom, he's not this, he's not that. What Man United do need to do is the deal that they do for Dorgu needs to be that if in 18 months' time, if in 2 years' time it's not working out, then we can move him on quite quickly. Do what Chelsea are doing right now with Disasi. Look, João Felix might be on his way out already. You know, if it don't work, gotta be that quick. But we we do put all of our eggs in one basket with these people. Like Anthony's a great example. He's just gone loads better. Of like, 100 million euro, big contract, it's going to work. And then 2 years later, it's like, it's not working. Like, what do we do?
Yeah. How are we going to move them on?
Exactly,
how are we going to move them on? Super Chats. Aminil says, can we do a welfare check on Fuad and Abby? I mean, don't know if Fuad needs stitches.
I saw that video yesterday. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, you only saw it yesterday?
Was that real glass?
It was plastic. Well, I think it's like, well, the way it sounded was like it was.
It sounded like Stone Cold Steve Austin was about to come out. It was no joke.
Studio, there's a few of those picture frames going around. So he lost his shit, mate. Lost his shit. Abby's fucking. She's in the snow. She's in Iceland. She don't even know what's going. Well, she does know what's going on, but she's vexed as well, mate. I mean, imagine that. I know we're doing bad, but it's like, oh, fucking hell, Jesus. Even we've got like a 5-point gap on them now, Jesus. And their next game's difficult, I think, in the league. Is it? Who was it? Is it Villa? Oh no, that's in the FA Cup. There was some. I remember going on. They beat Leicester, but
they got Brentford away.
That's it. Yeah, don't fancy that, mate. And Brumo's licking his lips and Wissa. I haven't checked in on them yet, but I take it they're all right. Red Devils down. I said I respect you guys for your impartiality, but Owen Fleck, do you guys actually want Dorgu? Why or why not? Which is basically what we just spoke about there. Red Devils down under. Big up to you. I think our thing was, well, Owen, I don't want to speak for you, but we were basically just saying we're like, okay, let's have a look. Let's.
I think it's.
We need the position.
I'm not going to be one of these people that comes on and be's like, I've watched loads of him. so I can say whether he's good or not. And I don't want to be that person that speaks out of both sides of their mouth of like, go get these people from Serie A, from Liga that we don't know about, and then when we do, our first reaction is, I don't know, he must be rubbish. Because I don't want to do that. I really don't subscribe to the theory that because Lecce played Inter at the weekend and they lost 4-0, which means he's awful. We should stay away from him. Because again, football doesn't necessarily work like that.
And they are relegated. They're down the bottom of the league. Like, they're not having a great season.
And also the other part of it is, I've been saying for like almost 18 months now, go get a left back, which is transformed into go get a left wing back. When we're about to get one, I can't be like, not that one. I don't know him. So
100%. So yeah, Red Devils Down Under also gifted 10 UV memberships as well, by the way. So amazing generosity this early in the morning or evening or nighttime for you, Red Devils Down Under. What time would it be in Australia now?
I'm not sure, but to celebrate,
are they back in last? They're back yesterday, aren't they? Or
they'll be in the next. They're ahead. They're ahead.
They're ahead. Right. Okay. So they're probably just going to bed now, maybe.
Yeah, because they celebrate New Year's first, don't they? So,
yeah.
But to celebrate those new members, shall I release right now a brand new episode of UV Raw? Should I
release
do it?
Press the button right now. Go, 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 go.
Yeah,
put it live right now.
It now. Yeah.
So the 10 UV members plus all the other hundreds of members that we have, you can watch the latest UV Raw straight after this. Do you know what I mean? Don't watch it now. Don't watch it now. Watch us.
No, not
watch us.
Not
we're
now.
live.
Not
now, it's 1,500 of you here now. Don't watch now.
Yeah.
After,
if anything, click
after.
the like button. Click the like button.
Yeah. Subscribe. Let's stay here. Don't get off this screen. But shout out Red Devils Down Under, man. Big up to you. Appreciate your love, man. Red Baron says, Flex, the people on DR, especially AGT, shock, were talking how it's a disgrace how Amorim is treating Rashford whilst AGT purposely ignores the context. Well, that's not like AGT, is it? He's a fond...
What, to have an agenda against United? He would never.
He would never. But I did say, we haven't really spoken actually since this, have we?
No, because I spoke about it yesterday, but obviously you were on Sky, so you haven't really...
I'll be honest, like I listen, I'm all for the manager basically being honest, and I'm all for basically the lack of protection for Rashford in terms of like, just call it out then. Like he's basically saying his attitude's not right and you're fed up of it. The only thing that I kind of thought about, which I haven't seen too many people talking about, I don't know what it was like yesterday, Owen, when you start talking about it. If he's saying that he's not doing enough to get into the squad, yeah, because you're not training well enough, the way you look after yourself, your attitude, this, that, and the other. You can't get into the matchday squad. So why are you still allowed to train with the first team then? Because then what's going on in training? That means that in the actual training, you're basically saying, you're not training properly. You're not. You can't get into the matchday squad. So you're allowing that, but then he can't make the matchday squad.
I think they're trying to avoid the. It's a bit like you said before with the Aubameyang when he's at Arsenal. You can't almost, at one point you have to give. This is why yesterday, and the quotes came out when I was doing the full-time view on Sunday. It was just over. Like it's just because there's no way he can be reintegrated back into the matchday squad, because when you've really drawn the line in the sand the way that he has and sort of said, that. I would put a 60-year-old goalkeeping coach in before someone that doesn't give their all for the team, and I pick players that are best for the team. If he doesn't go, nothing then will change in that regard, will it? So and then he appears back in the matchday squad. You go, right, so suddenly now is he good for the team just because he wasn't sold?
You see what I'm saying?
So I think that it's a thing where it's over. I think that maybe it is Ruben Amorim once again. But again, he started off vague.
He don't have to do it though.
He started off
have to say that.
Vague a few weeks ago, and now he's just like, I don't like the way he trains.
Saying, I
conducts himself.
What I find difficult, what we don't do very well, is because obviously it's our in-house thing, and we know all the context. We're like, good, throw the players under them, but like we are trying to say to clubs like, come and take him now. So the manager saying in that moment, his attitude's so bad, I'd rather put the goalkeeping coach. He does mean for all players, but in this case, he means Rashford. Let's just be real. That doesn't really help right now. You just gave them a headline last week, and you're giving them another headline now.
I mean, it happens. To be fair, though, like again, because we're so in-house and we know everything, we act like this doesn't happen at other clubs, and it does get more attention. Like I remember last season happened with Poch with a bunch of players at Chelsea. Earlier on this season, it happened with Sterling at Chelsea too, with they just decided they weren't going to use him anymore. And it's like, right, he's not going to be named in the squad and he's going to go. I think it is just once more a real sort of last ditch attempt to be like, no, I don't want to use him. So guys, we're going to have to figure out a way to get rid of him in January. And that's what it's going to have to be.
He ain't played in 11 games. Like, you can't make it any more clear.
But that's what,
saying it's the same thing. Like, why?
But you say that, but then
you say it's over. So you don't need to give them the nugget. It's
and also
over.
as well, this one it goes back to, I've mentioned it a million times, Flex, the public relations pissing match between the two sides, which is you've got United going, look, no, seriously, we're not interested. We just want you to go. And then you've got Rashford's doing the whole, like, well done, good win today, boys. Come on, the boys. And remember those briefings too, where it's like, hey, I'm happy to train, and I've got no Flex. I've got no problem with Ruben. I've got no problem with Ruben at all. And if I'm picked, I'm happy to play, and no problem at all. This, that, and the other. And then you've got the other side, Ruben being like, I don't like the way he trains or carries himself. It's more jockeying. It's more jockeying for position on both sides. And the reality is there needs to be a resolution. And I don't think if he doesn't go, it's just awkward. It's just
if he doesn't go
for
now,
the rest of the winter.
Because to be fair, it's true in terms of obviously I was at the part, and Amorim's confirmed it by saying this. To be fair, he has, to me on a personal, he's confirmed this. I was saying, maybe it might not even be a training thing by now. It can actually just be because he said that thing about I want to leave. That's it. You can train well, because I was taking it as I was taking it 100%, because I was taking it as, well, you're still training with the first team the whole time. So you can't be that toxic. You can't be that bad in front of everybody that you're bringing the group. Because when Amorim says the way you eat, the way your impact is on the rest of the group, are you helping? Are you conducive to the atmosphere? Well, if Amorim's saying he is, but he's still keeping him in training, then that's an issue as well. Because Rashford's so toxic, and he trains so bad that you shouldn't have him around, like, training with the others. I get what you're saying in terms of, like, the Obama. You go legally, well, you need a real proper actual reason to take him out of that. So I get that pushback. I understand that 100%. But I just find it interesting that basically how worrying is that? We've basically got a player who don't want to be there, who Amorim's saying, by the way he trains, I'm telling you, he ain't.
Well, I think, again, he's saying training, but it feels like
you're not listening to what I'm saying. I can accept that. What I'm saying is, if he's training that bad,
but I don't think this is what I'm saying, Flex, is I don't think it's necessarily, if you listen to what he's saying, I don't think it's just a training thing. Clearly, when he's talking about the way they walk, the way they carry themselves, and if you read the Laurie Whitwell piece at the beginning of the year about allegedly Rashford was out the night before training or out before a game, and he said no, it would appear to me that he's sort of suggesting that the way that Marcus Rashford is carrying himself, and maybe once again the people around him, that are advising him and this, that, and the other, that is not conducive to the group and how we want it to go. On a match day, I don't even want you involved with that. You can come to training, you can go and train, but even when you're leaving the training ground, I'm not happy with what's going on. And because of that, and because of then the interviews and the stories and this, that, and the other, I'm not interested in it all. So you can come until otherwise, show up to training. You're not going to play for me. I'm not going to pick you in the squad unless we need numbers. But that's really the situation. So I think, obviously, it's easy for him in interviews to be like, "Oh yeah, it's just training." But I think it's more. I think it's everything. I think it's
he's just told us now.
I think
now
it's,
in the end, he's broken again.
Yeah, really, I think it's the people around him, the lifestyle. I think it's everything.
It's everything. But what I'm saying is as well, which again, we don't really, because Ruben's new and we love him. I love him. I think he's wicked. Like, I honestly, I really do. I think he's sick. But like, it just the last week, literally only last week, you had to retract and basically say, listen, I offered you up a nugget of like this, that, and the other to go with. So I'm a young guy, I get these things wrong. Like he said, I'm not going to promise I won't do it again. But so this is the last question of the thing. If he would have just said, what would happen? How would everyone feel if he said, yeah, I understand your question, but we've won a game today. I'd rather talk about the players who did play today, not the players who didn't, and just walked out the presser. What? How would we all have felt?
But this is the other part of it. So
I think he could have just said that.
Frank here says, you're failing to appreciate that Amorim is repeatedly driving down Rashford's value. This is the other part of it. It's the 28th of January. We've already established there ain't a lot of value there. Like there isn't, because his wages are so high. This is the other part of it too. It's a bit like the Raheem Sterling thing at the end of the window in the summer, where it was like everyone looked at that Raheem Sterling deal and went, blood, he's on like 300K. How are we going to even do that? When a player's on that much value and they're in a bad moment and they're not good, their value's next to nothing in terms of a transfer fee anyway.
But there's value. There's the monetary side of it. And then there's, but let's take a chance on him because he is good. But then the manager said his head's fucking all over the place. There's two sides.
How much are we going to get for Marcus Rashford?
That's what I'm saying. So actually, if money is difficult as it is because the value's not there in his contract, you then don't want to say, on top of there's no value in his contract, he's on 300 grand a week. So how are you going to pay for that? Let me tell you this as well. His head, mate, I tell you what, awful. Then no one's going to take a chance on him. It's even worse. It doesn't help.
In this window, that's what it's been, though, isn't it? The only interest reportedly has been Saudi clubs, which he said no to. AC Milan. I mean, let's face it, Flex too. His brother did the tour of Italy, did the tour of Europe. He did the tour of like meeting again with nothing, because every single club in Europe. This is what we said at the beginning of January. Every single club in Europe takes one look at the financials, goes, can't do that. Can't do that anyway. Let alone. And the reason, and if he was doing great, we wouldn't be selling him. We wouldn't be going. We're not interested.
Everybody knows that, and the money is true. But so with all of that taken into consideration, i.e., the brother's trying to shop him out and get him out, come back empty-handed. The club are trying to want that to happen. We need you to leave. We need you to please go. That we're doing that, right? If the manager says that after all of that, I'm also going to tell you this, because you can't make his selling point money. You can't make his selling point form. You can't make his selling point good sample size. It's all shit. So you need someone to basically take a chance on. I tell you what, we'll just get his head right. We could. You need a club to see something, and you've even taken that now by saying that in that second. You're going, I tell you what, mate. Also, I'd rather put the goalkeeping coach on the bench instead of him. I'm saying, in the grand scheme of things, I know you can say it don't matter because you can't sell him, but it's that still takes away the last little. Even if he lie, you're supposed to go in the press conference and say he's training well. Listen, but it's just a difficult situation. Lie.
If he was that good,
don't be too honest.
If he was that good, Flex, and people rated him, then people wouldn't give a shit about that. People fall out with coaches and they fall out with managers all the time. We have seen it with players. If they're any good, players look at it. How many clubs Mario Balotelli had, right? Or you look at Jadon Sancho. He ended up at Chelsea in the end of the window, didn't he? You know, we might have been happy with the price that we got, whatever, but now we don't care about it anymore.
But he was playing and was on tour smiling and this, that, and the other. It's different.
Yeah, but it wasn't, because he was left out in the end. He was left out the first few squads in the Premier League season, wasn't he? He travelled to Brighton and he wasn't even playing. He was always, James actually is there today. He's not travelling. In the end, if you're any good, they'll go be like, look, you're falling out of manager. It happens. Shit happens. Boom. You know, again, that's when it goes back to we're driving down the value. The value isn't there. The value hasn't been there for him because, again, the finances are so high too. So what more damage? And let's face it,
he's done more.
What more damage? What more damage is Ruben Amorim doing by the fact that, again, there haven't been many takers?
Honestly, but then if you're getting towards it, what we're not thinking of, because I'm not playing devil's advocate here. This is actually what I think. I actually disagree with Owen on this one to a certain extent. I get what you're saying in terms of his value's already low. So how you saying that's not going to make it any worse? I'm saying I think it does make it a little bit worse, because any little bit of like a club that might come in, because you get into late final hours, final days. We're now getting into a territory where, like you said, we don't want Rashford to stay at any cause now. Now, this is like, he has to leave. So if there's clubs and ahhing, going, I don't know, man. You've just taken away that tiny little bit of like, I know it's on the floor, but the little bit of like, well, maybe we could get him in, his training is good. Man's just come out and say, rather pay the fucking the 60-year-old goalkeeper coach instead of him. That basically, what does that help the situation? I don't think it. I don't think we're coming away from that going, this situation's better now. We said that.
No, I don't think. The difference between Barcelona considering putting a bid in for Marcus Rashford was, wow, you know, Ruben said some bad stuff about him. Not a chance. You
think it helps?
The reason I don't think it has any bearing at all, because I think the situation's as it was 6 weeks ago. The situation's the same. When he got left out of the Man City squad, and clearly it was because, he was out the night before and he denies it, this, that, and the other. It's been the same since then. It is what it is. It's the same with Pep, who was the fullback that was at City, and then he ended up going to Bayern Munich on loan, and he bounced around all over the place. What was his name?
Cancelo.
Yeah, come out and you ask Pep about him. Like, if they're any good, again, players will pick them up. If they're any good, players will pick them up. The reality is that it looks like Marcus Rashford wanted to go to Barcelona, and Barca, they're like, well, financial levers, this, that, and the other, and now it's like, we were going to get rid of a couple of players. They're going to stay, so they can't even afford it. So that's the crux of the reality is,
PJ
it's
agrees with both of us on this one. Because we are both like, I get what you're saying. I'm on the payroll as well, by the way, of Rashford. Listen, Rashford has to get the hell out of here. That's the reason why I'm having this opinion is out of, I want him to go. He has to go. And I just think when we're trying to say, don't give them nuggets because the media are this and the media are that, you literally just retracted a big nugget. And at the end of the presser, just say, we've won today. I don't want to talk about Rashford. I want to talk about the players that are here. But like Patrick said, Flex, it makes no difference. Owen's right. But really, what was the next thing we're all talking about the next day then? It matters. If he didn't say that, it would have been a non-story.
I think he's just being honest, to be honest. When he's asked all the time about Alejandro Garnacho,
but he weren't saying that two games ago.
He mentions that he likes him. He's always said it about Rashford. He's always
but saying that there was other ones where he was saying training well, but obviously I make the decisions in training. I make the decisions. It's kind of the same, But this one, he's gone. Yeah, he's basically like he wasn't always as strong as this. Wasn't.
He's
sometimes it was training, then it was.
He's largely said said the same thing about Rashford since the beginning when it comes to from the Flex, from his second press conference. It was when Rashford was playing. He was asked about how does he to get him back, and he's like, yeah, but he has to be Marcus. He has to want.
It has to
he's
be
already.
Well,
he's
and
already
also the first one he said
stuff.
this is, but the first one because obviously it's the first game. I do think he's gone in there thinking I can get the tune out of him. Then he's realised really quickly, oh, this is what everyone's talking about. Because after the Ipswich one, we go, yep, he scored, but you go, listen, that isn't, that's not his best position. Like, basically, it doesn't work there. We need to find the position for him. It was like, yeah, we all sort of said that's not going to work. Then he gets in against Everton, scores a couple, so, okay. But obviously, there were some rumours even before that, wasn't there, about he'd gone out and stuff like that. So I think very, very quickly, he did realise, Nah. I do 100% agree with that. I'm not saying he wants him to be there. He definitely, obviously doesn't. But my thing was, I just don't know how much that helped the situation. How I saw it was, yes, the first bit, I said, Ruben's going in. Fair play. Then I thought about it and I went, there's a week left. I don't think to any club that maybe might have thought of going in for him, because it ain't going to be for money, because the money doesn't work. Unless Rashford drops the wage demands, unless we want to pay more. It's never about the money, because we said the money's on the floor. We can't, it's difficult. So you need to find another angle to make it a little bit attractive.
Well, that was the other part.
We might have just got rid of that.
Were those reports going, oh, he'll take a pay cut to be at Barcelona? And you're going,
yeah,
it's just, again, there never was any value in there. And I think the only thing,
I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know now.
The only thing preventing Manchester United and him from agreeing to, mutually rip up his deal would be the fact that he is an academy homegrown player. So anything they can get counts as pure profit. So they're like, well, we don't want to take a loss on this kind of thing. You know what I mean? We want to,
a loss is completely getting nothing.
We want to get something. So even if we do get 10 million, it counts as.
Well, but this is what I'm saying though, about we want to try and get something, and we're chipping into the last little bit. It's on the floor. It's on the floor. There was anything there anywhere.
I think in the end he'll go out on loan. My prediction is he'll go to Dortmund or something like that, and I think everyone will make it happen, and it'll be like, we're not going to cover that much of his salary. We'll cover as much as we can, and it'll be something like that.
When I was like, if he stays, he's got to get reintegrated. Now he said this, definitely not. He can't now. He's got to be with the kids after this. But Rashford better pray that he gets this move, because he stood firm on this hill, mate. That's it. And Ineos, it's because it's too late for Ineos to be able to say now, he stayed, you're going to have to reintegrate him. It's too toxic now. Joe Frem says 35 million is hella dear for a left back. Ineos are long. Akil says, this is poor planning, panic and overpay. Glinios. Lil Yo-Yo says, big up, guys. This manager needs backing. All eyes on Ineos. We need to clear out Casemiro and Rashford. Also, what constitutes a sexy signing flex? Well, like I said, like the big shiny name that, like I said, if you could start and you get a Gyökeres, if you could start and you get a central midfielder, like, I don't know. Oh, Frankie de Jong, we finally got him. I don't know, but not that. But do you know what I mean? Just that, the names. You guys know what I mean, the names. Tabra says, what about a flexi signing? Yeah, or a flexi signing. You know the deal. Save the Jungle says, what are Dorgu's stats? Well, I think he scored about 4 goals, something like that. Played right wing a couple of times, so he can play as an attacker. Played 4 times for Denmark.
He plays in the back 4 for Lecce, so I don't know how often he plays in the wing back position, but can play on the left and right. Both footed, 20.
Athletic. Yeah. That's all we got. Joe Fleming says, Ineos are not the Avengers, they are piss poor. Okay, fair. Red Baron says, big up to the flexibles at Tabrez. And Amanor says, I would sign Megan Fox and Halle Berry as a sexy sign. Bloody hell. I've mentioned sexy sign at the top of the show. I had no idea it would provoke this type of reaction. Honestly, guys.
Yeah,
how old are we? Come on, Amanor.
Always very, very raunchy. You never know you're going to get from Amanor. Yeah.
Red Baron, Amanor would sign Owen as a sexy signing. What is got Kristen? KG's sexy signing would be anyone he can't misgender. Justice for myself. What is going on here? I'm not going to mention sexy signing ever again. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, glamorous signing. I'll say. Actually, no, don't even say that. Don't say that. Flex.
Yeah. What's a glamorous signing, Flex? I think Halle Berry's a glamorous signing.
Oh my dude. Oh god, the internet. Fat 4 says during the 7-0, I punched the wall and broke my wrist. Oh, sorry, Fat 4. I hope that's. Hope you haven't got any reoccurring problems with that. Since that day, we've not lost at Anfield. So big up to you. Red Devils Down Under become a member himself. Big up to you. Shout out to you. And Aminor says, I'm calling out Flex for promoting Player FC yet again. Bless you, Owen. Yes, Player FC. Rashford is in the right. Amorim's in the wrong. That's
what you are, Flex.
And I tell you what, Rashford deserves to be back in this team. He is our best player. And how that manager can think we're better off with Garnacho in the 10 and Xerxes and Hojlund, and we've got Rashford, who's clear of them. He's deluded, mate. Rashford FC all the way. 100%.
Clip it, make it go viral, out of context, please.
Yeah, out of context. Mank born and bred, mate. Rashi.
That's what we
manager.
Need.
It's people like you lot that are the problems and the manager that are the problems. Rashi's done nothing. He's a scapegoat is what he is. You're always scapegoating him. Red Devils Down Under said, gifting memberships when I ain't one for F's sake. Brain rot from this club. We suck. Yeah, you realise that. Actually, I'm not even a member myself. I'm giving out 10. But you realised it. Red Devils Down Under. So big up to you. And Jason Hannah says, I wonder if Mourinho had a word with Amorim about Rashford. Obviously, that clip about Rashford, Mourinho said in 2019, I think that was?
2018, 2019.
2018.
Yeah.
It's a really good clip.
Yeah.
It's a really good clip. Yeah. So how honest he is and the things that he can't improve. Just look where we are now. A good player in some moments, a good player from the left with a target man in some moments, a good player, this, that, and the other. Dave Jones, how can he learn? He can't learn to be a number 9. He can't. It's not good enough. Mr. Premp says, real question is how much of Rashford's salary Ineos are willing to pay? Otherwise, he's staying. Well, exactly. Or Rashford does this thing of shit. I need to go. So I'll drop the wage demands. Red Brown says, no Flex. We need to rip this toxic culture out. Yeah, correct. I agree. And Bembe says, Amorim is taking the power away from Rashford by basically exposing him for what he is in terms of not training well, etc., etc. Fair play. Keegan, been a member for 31 months, says the look on Rashi's brother's face after realizing that Rashi isn't that desirable would be priceless. Been twerking all across Europe for nothing. Like Owen said, he's been everywhere and come back with no deal. And Dan says season is a write-off. Let contracts expire like Lindelof on 170 grand a week in the summer. Then look at the market for a left back. Oh, what? So don't start at Dorgu. Don't spend 30 million on Dorgu. Just say the season's a write-off. Just go with what we got now. Doesn't matter. Not going to get relegated. And then just get my do in summer. I don't know. We've got to start somewhere, man. We need players. We've got to start. Tabra says Aminor test levels are worryingly high.
Yeah, they are. They are with Aminor. My word.
Yeah. Oh, God. Where are we at likes-wise, actually, before we move it on? Are they 500 without even asking? Big up to everyone. And we're nearly at 2K watching live as well. So you guys get involved. Let's get to 750. Why not? That's the new. That's
Yes.
the new target. 750. Hojlund sale price.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. To be honest, it's a bit of a non-story. I think it's more sort of hopium from people after the weekend. But Mark Ogden was writing for ESPN, sort of saying about how a lot of people are looking for a striker, basically, in January, and what could happen with a lot of strikers. And he was talking about Rasmus Hojlund. He said, despite signing Hojlund for an initial 75 million euros, fucking hell, from Atlanta in the summer of 2023, United are prepared to offload the 21-year-old if they receive a suitable offer either in this window or at the end of the season. Having struggled to look anything like a Premier League striker at Old Trafford, however, United are facing a big loss if he does move. Interest is limited, but AC Milan and Juventus could both move for the youngster if they fail to land their preferred options. There is certainly, when it comes to Juventus, they're looking for strikers. Although his time at United has been relatively unimpressive, Hojlund's reputation in Italy remains healthy because of the potential he showed at Atalanta. There is also some interest from the Bundesliga, but heading into the final week of the window, Flex, United aren't being overwhelmed by offers. And you want to talk about how, comments might not help things or what have you. I think performances also might not help things either when it comes to Rasmus Hojlund, because against Fulham, my goodness me, he stunk it up.
Yeah. And I heard Jody Morris on Rio's podcast talking the other day about Rasmus. And
I saw that.
And I thought it was, honestly, Jody Morris, if you don't know who he is, or, well, a lot of you should do, but, some people don't, been around the game a long time. He's played at Chelsea as well. And
he
speaks
was
well.
Scathing.
Yeah, he was scathing, but I don't think he was rude. I think everything he said is like, you go, listen, you talk about systems, and this is what we was literally saying it, weren't we, in the Fulham game? You say about systems and don't create chances and all that. As the striker, you're the focal point, especially in a team that's shit. Like you can't get away with having a baggy touch or you don't hold the ball. That's your issue. That's your issue. You might go ages without touching the ball, but when you do, if you're a proper normal striker, you're a good striker, get the ball down, take a touch. Simple basics of being any semi-decent footballer. Get the ball down, take a touch, set the ball, have a feel for the game, know what to do. And yes, he's young and stuff like that. And Rio went on to say, who's he learning off? He's looking at Xerxes. Xerxes like him. That's true. That's a different issue. But the fundamentals of just look at the individual. What's going on when the ball's around him? What sort of feel does he have? Because what you can notice is good players in bad teams. Do you know what I mean?
And again,
you can notice good players in bad teams. So what you're seeing with him is he's got potential to be something else. Of course, this isn't the all to be all and end all of him, but we have to call out these deficiencies he's got in his game. They're bad ones to have, and none of them have got improved in any way.
And it's beyond that with Hojlund, because this is what I was referring to in the game against Fulham, is that like you said, you can talk about the system or the lack of service, or don't create a lot of chances for him, and he's got the lowest amount of shots taken out of the strikers in the Premier League or whatever the stats are. But I was just looking at in that game, particularly in the first half, the amount of times where he's receiving the ball to feet back to goal and it just bounces off him, or the defender can easily just nick it off him, go. And I was looking at that going, that's not even like our Premier League standard. That's just a general football standard. I said Sunday league, the fat guy up front that you go, there's no way he can play football. He's got a touch. He receives it in, takes a touch, lays it off. And we watched that. We watched that happen a bunch of times. And then Jimenez, I think right at the beginning of the second half, receives the ball into his feet, lays it off. And I went, that's once. And it's not even like we're going around going, sign Raul Jimenez, bring him in. We're just going, as a striker, not even Premier League, as a professional footballer, as a striker, minimum, you should be able to receive the ball to your feet, take a touch, lay it off, 1-2. That's it. People
and
play
that
off
is the
you.
reason
That's
why.
the role.
Xerxes,
You're a striker.
You're a striker. That's what I'm saying. So it's not about systems and now we play with wing backs, or before it was 4-2-3-1 and nobody crossed it to him. Paul Rasmus. Yeah, that's one side of it when you can just look at goal scoring. Why is he not getting a look at goal? Your striker is there to be the dominant goal scorer. That's his job. So why is he not getting looks at the basket, as they say in basketball? I need open looks. I need chances. That's one side of it. But what are you doing as a striker in this team to help us? Do you know what I mean? We can't play to you. We can't play through you. We can't play for you. And Raul Jimenez wasn't getting many looks the other day, was he? Not really. He had a couple of flash shots here and there, one shot over the bar, this, that, and the other. But weren't getting mad looks because we defended quite well. But at the same time, he can engage. You can, you know what I mean? Your job as a striker is to engage the back line of the opposition team, even if you're playing, even more so when your team's playing poor, because it's like, fucking hell, we're getting nothing in midfield here. Wing backs can't get forward. Let's go long. Force one of the centre halves to kick it out for a throw and get up the pitch. Are you making engaging runs like that? Let's put it into the striker's feet. Right. I need you to kind of not just wait up there, waiting for a ball over the top, running one way. I need you to come offer me to the ball so I can play into your chest and you can, Bassi can just come into the back of you and we can win a foul and we can all get out of the pitch, relieve the pressure. It's not happening. It's not happening. Obviously, confidence now as well is getting to him because now he's thinking too much. Rasmus's attitude, I think, back to what Amorim was saying, he used Rasmus as a good example to say, listen, but his attitude's good. He wants to work on all these things. I think he said he wants to stay behind to do extra on these, on these problems. And he said, doesn't know when to come near, doesn't know when to go far. Sometimes he should be running away when he should be, when he's running away, when he should be running towards the ball, etc., etc. So Amorim can see the things we've seen. But yeah, if someone comes in for the right price for him, I mean, you look at that outlay we've had for Rasmus Hojlund you're talking about the Anthony thing, right? Let's be real. You're talking about Anthony because it was a straight kind of 80 million or 100 million euro. So it's like the 200 grand a week. It's a bit more grand, but agreeing with plus add-ons, to an outlay of 74 plus for Rasmus Hojlund, and that's up there, massively up there.
Yeah,
shocking
this
decision.
This is the thing I've been saying for months with both of them. Because now we're at the stage where we're going because when the team came out, we were like, well, I can't believe Hojlund's starting. Xerxes should start, and it's not because I think everyone's done this about face of see, I told you Xerxes was great, because the realization is still Joshua Xerxes, he's not great. He's not great. The difference is the reason why people want him to start over Hojlund now is because, again, he's got a touch, so you can play off him a little bit. That's
exactly what I was just saying. That's the reason why he's ahead of him, only because he can bring the ball down.
Only got a touch,
still not amazing.
But said again for months with these two, then they're not it for being Manchester United strikers, whatever that is nowadays, the level of Manchester United. But they're not that, and that's when you say, well, you need to. That's why we're doing this back and forth of bringing one on, taking the other one off. This one should start, that one should start, because neither are that. And there's a reason that when the team news comes out, we said it before the Fulham game, that you look at the team that comes out and you go, who the fuck is going to score goals for us today? You go, Ahmad might get one. Bruno can get one.
Maybe Garnacho could.
Maybe Garnacho if he has 5 or 6 attempts, because 3 of them are probably miss or save. It's just that's what it is. And we're not looking at the strikers. One, because with Xerxes doesn't really get goals anyway. It's not really his kind of game. And Hojlund, because he just scores a few goals in bunches, and that's about it. But none of them are good enough to lead the line on a regular basis for Manchester United, score goals consistently in the Premier League. They're not that. And with the Hojlund one, I'm not even really latching on that much to the age thing now, because you're expecting to see development. And actually, if anything, in this system now, where it's more focused actually on hold up play, how good you touch, your sort of more technical aspects, it actually exposes his weaknesses even more, because at least when he's playing 4-2-3-1, it more, make runs into the box, see if he can try and find them, play on the shoulder a little bit. In this 3-4-3, it's receive the ball might come up to you, so you've got to take it down or take a touch, play off, give it out wide to the wings backs, or play with the 10s, and he just can't do it. That's not going to be him, and there's questions about his ability anyway, so once again, that's another position.
It's scary, yeah. It's scary how far off the rest of the teams it is. And I'm not just talking about the obvious, Haaland and Isak. I'm talking Welbeck and Pedro and shit like that.
I'm not even talking about that.
I'm talking about, Kluivert and shit like that.
It's where we are. It's where we are in the league.
They're miles off. Yeah, where we are. Yeah, exactly. It shows you, Jimenez way better than Hojlund.
Yeah.
There's so many examples. Even Mateta, look now, how Mateta's developed, improved under Areola. You go, fucking hell, I'll tell you what, he was a donkey before. He's laughing at Mateta ever since he's gone. Look at Brentford strike force. Look at Wissa and Mbeumo. Like Wissa would walk in and start as a 9 for us. Walk in, start, number 9 shirt. Here's your contract. Like, I'm not
Delap
saying
at
that's the way to go.
Ipswich, each
Delap would
start.
walk in and start. Do you know what I'm saying? Even Lindstrom at Wolves. Like, yeah, these guys are better than what we've got. So if it's scary hours, mate. It's scary hours. There's only a couple of teams where you go, okay, no, yeah, it's much of a muchness. If you're going like Calvert-Lewin, Beto, you see Everton, you go, oh, I wouldn't take their forwards. You know what I mean?
But you could
You'd
see,
probably still take Jamie Vardy. You know what I mean?
I could see Hojlund playing for like an Everton. Genuinely, like that.
Exactly.
That's the level.
But even
you know
that,
what
I
mean?
think David Moyes might go. I tell you what, I need at least someone who can hold up the.
Like Ridwan says there, Strand Larson from Wolves. Yeah,
that's what I just said. I said that one already. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, get in, wouldn't he? Yeah,
what I'm saying. So
easy.
It's scary away from the actual top teams of where we actually want to be. Like Jackson gets a lot of stick and all that. Way clear of Hojlund. Way clear.
He'd get in, of course.
Way clear. Start for us straight
on a regular basis. You
100%.
know,
Yeah, he might miss a barn door here or there, a bit wasteful and stuff like that. But he'd walk in and start for us. There isn't. I can't think. Maybe only Everton because they're desperate now. But I can't think of one team that would take our strikers.
There's a lot. Like
maybe Southampton because they really don't have nothing. They might say we'll take Rasmus. But I can't think of many teams that would go. No, no one. I don't.
You're right, Flex. You're right, Flex. There's a lot of teams in the Premier League where you name a team and you go, well, who's playing up front with them? You go, they'll get in our team. They'll be up front for us. They're better than us. Yeah,
Chris Wood definitely. You know what I mean? Ain't gonna sort of Spurs whether Solanke's fit. Fine,
even if Chris Wood played for United, at least I'd go, well, I can hold up the ball.
100%.
You know what I mean? You go, like, yeah,
good in the air. Great,
you know,
great hold up play, mate.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So I'd be like, but because again, that's the level for United at the moment. We're going, whatever striker they've got, can they hold up? Can they take a touch and lay it off? And if the answer is yes, they should be able to get into our team because ours can't do that.
Scary, mate. Rahil says Barca got rid of Ronaldinho for partying and influence. Joe Fleming says we just need a top striker. Let's be honest. Well, absolutely, definitely. And Red Baron says, is it important that the striker is sexy, though? Yes, it is very important. They need to be a sexy name.
Glamorous.
A glamorous name. And in terms of final late deals, I mean, like we said...
we spoke about it, I suppose, with Rashford. It's the Rashford one, really. I mean, there's a bit this morning I saw about possibly Roma maybe being interested in Casemiro. But we've kind of everything when it comes to Casemiro. It feels like every time we feel like he's going to leave, then nothing
happens.
He's
chilling, mate. He's chilling.
But it is going to be, I think, a busy week. I think it is going to be a busy week with obviously this Dorgu stuff. The Nkunku stuff seemingly is real in the sense of United.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I really get a chance to speak about that. On a loan, I'll take him on loan to the end of the season. I definitely do, especially if Garnacho left.
With no obligation to buy or anything like
absolutely.
that. Absolutely.
If they wanted an option, fine. You don't have to take the option. If they at most, if they put an option, but I would take him to see. You know, I just think we have to see Chelsea coming. That guy, he's missed 48 games last year. I think he missed, or something like that. And it's not something we should be getting into bed with and saying, "Oh, here's a 5-year contract,
long term,
50 million." No, we need to have a look at him, see what he's like. He's back fit again, and this is a longer time he's been healthy. But he ain't played, so we have no idea if he can.
He's in their Conference League squad mostly.
Yeah, he's in the Conference League. So, I think you got to take. But Nkunku is a good player. Like he's a very good player. He's got talent. It hasn't worked since he's got here. Absolutely not. But if it was on loan until the end of the season, I'd take that. Inside 10, left. He's done his best work as a 10. That's what he is.
I think there could be. I mentioned this yesterday. I think that if it did get down to the wire and it was like,
it makes sense to go and get him on
Garnacho, 60 million, which by all accounts from a PSR perspective, you could transform into like 180 million in terms of spend, and you might not be able to do that now, but you can do that in the summer, and that could be a big summer for United. But obviously, we need a replacement, and they said, look, we'll give you Nkunku 6 months. United we don't want to sign him, too expensive, issues with the fitness. We don't really want an obligation or anything like that, but just so you can have someone to the end of the season. Given that the season's a write-off anyway, I'd be like, that's not the worst thing in the world. That wouldn't be. And
just from a pure football perspective, if you say who suits this system better, just off the profile of player, it would be Nkunku all day, hands down.
I get for 6
just
months to get to the end of the season.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
But I think just with Garnacho, my closing thing is I think he might go. I think he's going to go Napoli. I think.
Well, there was
the Chelsea thing seems to have just. Well, they're thinking about it. They're looking. And you know, nothing's really happened from that yet. He's given priority. You know, a lot of Italy's saying he's given priority to Napoli. I can see Garnacho at Napoli more, like as him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is an interesting one because again, they just, like I said, the Chelsea one, it feels like we're waiting for Chelsea to put the bid in, and they just haven't. They keep sort of, like I said, circling, whereas Napoli have actually had approaches sort of rebuffed from United, so maybe they'll go back in and and look, it's not as if and maybe that would appeal to Garnacho because he'd be like, whilst he might want to stay in the Prem, go to Napoli, win Serie A, mate, win a league title.
Away. Yeah. Red Devils Down Under says Fergie from BEP
Black Eyed Peas,
a glamorous signing. Glamorous. They're glamorous. They're glamorous. Yeah.
It's very well done.
Yeah, very well done. Very well done. Right, big up to everyone. Big show. Really big show. Everyone got involved. Where did we get to? We got to 620 likes. We'll take that. Guys, Flexing KG show later on tonight, this evening. We'll see what happens throughout the day. Stuff is happening. Hopefully we get Here We Go today. That'll be nice to get the first signing under Ruben Amorim confirmed. So smash a like on the video on the way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel on the way out as well. And we'll see you on another transfer view tomorrow morning. Take care. Peace.